Rise up, brothers and sisters, kings and queens, boys and girls, friends, frenemies, and you agents. It's Brother Marley. This is the Gambia One channel. It's a very dark, wet Gambia. Today we're just closing up, just putting away the tables and chairs at the moment. So I thought I'll just take a few minutes to parlay with you while I have my cup of tea. To have a type of red pill conversation, all right? So it's really directed at the ones who are here, based in the Gambia and on the continent in general. I've had the privilege to be able to go to a few different countries on the continent, both here on the west coast and on the east coast, north as well, I guess, and further down south, not as far as South Africa, but further down south. So I've had a little bit of experience of the continent, but what I have seen has got me concerned. So I'm reminded of Thomas Jefferson when he said that truths have been made self-evident that all men are created equal, and that the Creator created them with inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, what's crazy about it is that while he was saying that, they didn't recognize black people as humans, as men. Maybe a couple thirds, 2/3 of a man, something like that. So those self-evident truths were not extended to those people, that group. As an extension, it wasn't extended to us at all, the whole diaspora, all black people, regardless of where you are. And that has set a precedence. Now, over in the States, where they've been rubbing up against people with that kind of white supremacist mindset, they've been able to see for themselves that this is completely against what Thomas Jefferson said about the idea that all men are created equal, that idea, that ideal that we're all created equal by our Creator, where people who are in power and those associated with those in power are treating some as though they're not even humans at all. Unacceptable. Whereas what I'm seeing over here is acceptance of this discrepancy. Now, a couple days ago, I was I set up my camera to do a video, and so I was moving the chairs and tables around, and out popped from just behind me here, old dude. He must have been 60 or 70. European man. He was closely followed behind by a young Gambian girl. He was holding the baby. There's also a Gambian chap with them as well. Now, I don't know these people, but what I do know is that here in this country, if the family see it as worth it, they're quite happy to push and force their daughter to go and sleep with this European man, with the idea to get money out of that relationship for the whole family. You know, I don't understand that kind of thinking. I can't imagine me taking my daughter and saying, go sleep with this old dude because daddy needs some new trainers. I don't understand it. I'm glad I don't understand it. I do know that. I spoke to one of my waitresses about it, and I was like, what is going on here? And she explained that the young man that was with the young Gambian man was probably her brother, he's ensuring that she keeps up her side of the deal with this old dude that him and his father have agreed. You have my daughter, you have my sister, and in return, you give us finances for her services. I remember previously I saw something similar to that. I saw another old bloke from Europe holding hands with this young Gambian girl, walking past a group, I'll say 3 or 4 Gambian men. I was thinking, he'd been real meek. He had his head down, just walking forward, not any eye contact. I was thinking they're about to beat this man up or something. But what they did was that they stood up and applauded him. They said, "Yes, my brother, you've got a good one there, yes." They applauded him for bagging this teenager. She looks like a teenager. So when I was speaking to my waitress, she said, look, the way we see it here is that if that European man is interested in you, then the family will force you to be into a relationship with him. Force is the word she used. Just a quick bad edit. Just watching back the video. So, one thing I didn't mention was that I also asked her, so would they force you to marry a black person with money? She said, no. You can't force me to marry a black. So this isn't only about the money, people. This is about the idea that certain people are better than others. It's about race. It's very, very, very important, and it's very insidious how this thing gets into people's mind and into their psyche, and goes straight to the point where people are so serious about it, they're willing to trade their offspring for it. There was a sister who's here, not here now. She's been in the country for a little while. Light-skinned sister, very, very light-skinned, and she noticed this. She was going in her house. She told me she noticed this Gambian man who was kind of like clocking her from the bushes, as it were. She was kind of worried about what his program is. He gave her a note. He gave her a written letter, and he said, "I'm so glad that you've come and moved in our area. We love white people." He thought she was white. "We love white people like you. The blacks are not good people, but you white people are good. So we welcome you." That was his welcome letter to this sister. So she was livid, right? See, people here have this idea that by nature, or that the evidence proves to them that all men are not created equal. I was over at a supermarket 2 days ago, and I was talking to the manager about thefts, because there was a couple that was a bit dodgy. The manager's Indian, by the way. So again, in India and Pakistan, they also have rubbed up and spent a lot of time around European counterparts. So he understood that that you can have all types within that sector of people. So if someone's acting dodgy, it doesn't matter what colour they are. If they're acting dodgy, they're dodgy, right? That's what you go by. He sent this woman out to chase him after he left, to check on what he had. So she ran out, and then she came back. She goes, "There's nothing wrong. It's a white man. He's not stealing nothing." he had to remind her of a previous time when another European person came in and was stuffing steaks down the back of his trousers. Steaks. He was stuffing steaks down his trousers to steal it. So there's like a few examples where people here are putting Europeans up on this pedestal that they could do no wrong. They're a blessing to the environment. You can sell your child to them. And this video is really just trying to say, listen, don't believe what you've heard. I know that you've watched the videos that the BBC puts out that show how wonderful European people are and how terrible you people are. You're not. You're not worse than. They're not better than you. Worst case scenario, you're equal. That's the worst case scenario. In actual fact, I spoke to this one holiday maker, and she was saying she can't stand how much she goes down the beach and then she has Gambian men trying to talk to her and, hey, how you doing? And obviously they're there for money, right? She can't stand how much they do that. And I said to her, listen, not so long ago in the UK, before they had the National Health Service, before they had, social services, London was a despot of thieves, thuggery, burglaries, murderers, stabbers, killers, prostitution, and child exploitation. That's what it was known for. We've all seen the film Oliver Twist. That's what it was known for. So understand that in the situation where you people have shown up the worst traits of humanity against each other, the Gambian people have been mostly a crime-free, friendly place to be. Obviously now, during this whole pandemic era, things are getting more difficult and more concentrated, and more people are finding problems with getting money, and so crime has started to rise now. That comes with the territory. I'm sure it's not just here that crime has risen. I'm sure it's risen all over the planet. But while that's going on, understand that who you are as a people is one of the best people on this earth. And the only reason why you say things like, oh, this is Africa when things are not good, oh, this is Africa, oh, to kind of explain away the badness, is because you have mentally taken on this idea that you are not equal or better than anyone else. You see yourself as less than, and it's not true. You interact with people not from this country as though you are not good enough to stand up toe to toe, head to head. Instead, you're quite happy to be called boy and be told to go move this over here and take it over there, boy. That to you is fine. You know it's not acceptable. You know inside it's not acceptable. Because if someone sees me, they don't call me boy. They see I'm not from here, they don't call me boy. But to each other, no problem. For a Lebanese person to call you boy, no problem. For a white person to call you boy, fine. But you wouldn't do it back to them. I purposely call people boy, and they're like, "Who you calling boy?" I'm like, you do it, so I'm gonna do it to you too. I upset a lot of Lebanese people that way. It's a joke. It's not serious. But yeah, things are about to get very serious now, because what we're seeing is a change in how the world is being governed. There's this new Australia, UK and US defense system that is being put up, that is being set up. So Australia wanted help with bolstering up their nuclear defenses. They call it defense, it's not fence. They call it defense. And they asked France to help them. France said, I can't help you. So they said, okay, no problem. So they went to the UK, and they went to the USA, and they said, let's set up a trilateral agreement that we will create some kind of defense network between the three of us. So that's going from the northern hemisphere via the States all the way to the southern hemisphere of the globe. They're expecting for this to be, China is seeing this as a new global effort to stop them. So we are hearing all these words about a new global world order. And now we are seeing it. We're actually seeing it being built, being created, being agreed upon. Because it doesn't make sense to, for a country like Australia to have their defences, and then America to have their defences, and the UK to have their defences, and then all of a sudden say, oh, okay, let's all just band together, unless you're going to have one agreement, one agreed set of rules and regulations to be able to run such said defence. So things are happening around us. It's going to affect Gambia heavily. This country is so heavily dependent on tourism, and with the lack of tourism over the last couple of years, we've seen it have a devastating effect on the economy here and on the lives of people. Now, if they're having a problem with this after 2 years, imagine what it'll be after 4 years. Imagine what will happen if we're seeing crime rising now after 2 years. Imagine what it will be in 5 years. But that's the plan. That is the plan, to set the whole planet on this kind of journey of lack and fear. Because when people start working out of lack and fear, that's when we start to see crime and violence. So here's what I foresee happening. I foresee more people coming over to Africa. Right now, Portugal has seen a boom in the number of people from Britain living there. Britons have now become like the second number of non-Portuguese people living in that country. There is an exodus that's happening from the UK and from those Nordic countries, and they're coming south. They're seeing that the weather over here is much better, the ground is a lot more fertile. They see that there is less intrusion of government over here. So I expect to see more and more people coming over here to live from Europe. Not just black people, I mean European people as well. I see that happening. Now, Gambian people, this is the only country I've seen where the majority of businesses that are run are not run by the people who live in that country. This is the first time I've seen that. I've been to a few countries, and whether I'm in Italy or in America or I'm in Guyana or I'm in Jamaica or Africa or wherever, I see it that the majority of the companies that are there are run by people from that country. Whereas here, not including people who are working in market stalls and they're making themselves $10 a day or something. I'm talking about businesses. The majority of them here, from what I've seen, are not run by Gambian people. That's a very dangerous precedent to put yourself in. Very dangerous situation to put yourself in. The fishermen here are not Gambian, they're Senegalese. That's a problem. The electricity that is generated here is generated by a Turkish company, I believe. And the electricity here, all right, there's a big part of the electricity that is a power station that is put on a barge and left at the port in Banjul. And that belongs to a Turkish company, I believe. So what happens is that if that Turkish company doesn't get paid their money by the country, they can just unhook their barge and just take the electricity with them. It's a dangerous situation to be in. Allowing yourself, or viewing yourself, as unequal to people on this planet puts yourself at such a disadvantage, to the point where you will sell your daughters. No one else is doing that. To the point where you will give sovereignty, you will give up your sovereignty so other people can dictate to you how your money is made, where your money comes from, how much it's going to be, and so on and so forth. So right now the world is in a state of flux. It's a state of change. A lot of people are seeing that viewing that as a fearful thing. I see it as an opportunity. This is the time to invest in your land that you have. Have yourself a borehole so you can bring water for yourself. Have yourself solar panels and get power for yourself. Grow your food so you have something to sell and you have something to eat. Because if we're living in a world where money no longer is no longer worth anything, we can't live in a world where money becomes worthless or worth very little. You need to shield yourself from that. The way you shield yourself from that is making sure that you are more self-reliant. It means more work. It means more effort. It's not the easy way. The easy way is to sit back and hope on the government to help you. If they're not, then if the government is in on it, is in on this whole game of, well, we go by what the Europeans tell us. And we see it here in Gambia, don't we? We remember that the president here did not start his presidency in this country. He was inaugurated in another country. That doesn't happen anywhere else. But as the last president said, grow your own, eat your own. Use food and use hard metals as your new currency. Look at those areas. Have your own water supply, have your own electricity supply. And maybe, just maybe, at the end of this state of flux, when all the cards have fallen down, we may find ourselves where no more disparity, no more lies, no more believing the lies and acting accordingly with those lies. All right? This message is sent with love and respect. Honor to the Gambian people. Much respect to everybody else who's watching it. And I'll see you on the next one. Until then, it's your brother Marley. Peace.